reading about Hezekiah this morning in Isaiah 38 and 39. Prophet Isaiah comes to him and tells him to get his house in order. He's about to die. And when the prophet Isaiah said something, you listened, because it was going to happen. Of course, this upsets King Hezekiah, and King Hezekiah cries out to the Lord and asks the Lord, Lord, please remember all that I have done. And he had done a lot of stuff. He says, please remember my faithfulness. He was faithful to the Lord. And he did. The Lord healed him. Isaiah comes back to him and says, the Lord has added 15 years to your life. So the next chapter, in chapter 39, we read that the king of Babylon sends envoys. Sends people because they hear that he had been made well, and they wanted to see for themselves, and they came, and he welcomed them gladly, and he showed them around, showed them all of his storehouses, everything that he had, all of his treasures. And Isaiah comes to him later and says, well, what did you show these people? He says, I showed them everything. All of my treasures, everything, all of my storehouses. And he says, there will come a day to where Babylon will come and take everything. And we know this, they were brought into captivity later on. But what really gets me is at the end, he tells the prophet Isaiah, he says, well, this seems good. Okay, I'm good with that. It says the reason he said that is because he thought that there will be peace and security in his days. Well, what about his children? We know Manasseh, his son, he was one who basically undid everything that he did. He led Israel back into idol worship, things like that. But what's real concerning to me is when he thought that everything would be okay in his days. What about his children? What about peace and security in his grandchildren's lives? Did he consider that? Doesn't seem like it. Got me to thinking about my children, my grandchildren. What about them? Are the things that we're doing today setting them up for success? Or are we just selfish? Or are we just concerned about peace and security in our lives? Well, we just live and we die. Doesn't matter what happens after that. Well, if you have children, if you have grandchildren, I'd have to say that's a pretty selfish way of thinking.